Hey guys, how is everybody doing? Sadly, the Friday the 13th weekend has come to a close. But hey, at least we got Never Hike Alone 2. So, Never Hike Alone 2 is now on YouTube Live right now. Please go watch that for yourself. Hopefully, I'll have a card up here. If not, I'm putting at absolutely nothing. But, with that being said, here's my own personal ranking of all three Never Hike Alone fan films. I'm just gonna say this too. There's no bad Never Hike Alone movie in this list. All of them are great. Even my bottom one, I still think is good. I love all these movies. They're all brilliantly made Friday the 13th films, and hopefully, Vincent DeSanti and this whole Womp Stomp Films crew it will be making the next few Friday the 13th movies, and if not, I'm going to cry my eyes out. But with that all out of the way, here's my own personal ranking of all three Never Hike Alone movies. In last place is Never Hike in the Snow. Now, the only reason that this one is last is because it's only a half hour and it's not an hour long like the other two are. Maybe if this movie was a little bit longer and it had a lot more going on, it might as well be at the top because I love this movie. I love the snow. I love the gore in this movie. Ghost Jason once again is awesome. I love this entire movie. It's a great film. The CGI snow, I still think needs some work here and there, but the only reason, again, the only reason it's only like down this low, it's only because this movie is only a half hour long, which is a shame. And at number two is Never Hike Alone, the first film in this franchise, and the beginning to this awesome fan films. Now, I will say this. Number one and number two, they battled it out for a few hours. They battled it out for the entire weekend to where I actually had to rewatch both of them because I didn't know which one I liked more. But they were both awesome. Never Hike Alone. Man, this is a fantastic fan film. I honestly didn't really know much about this movie. All I kind of knew that it might have been a Friday the 13th fan film. But at the same time, I didn't know when I watched it, I didn't know it was a Friday the 13th fan film at first. But the more it started to go on, I found out it was a Friday the 13th fan film. I heard that a lot of the horror community actually knew what it was. A lot of Friday the 13th fans knew what it was. A lot of horror fans really liked it. So I decided to watch it. And oh my god, this might as well be the biggest surprise I've ever watched in my life. If this was like a fully fledged movie, this might be the biggest surprise that I've ever encountered because this movie was awesome. I love how this movie kind of just breaks the rules too, to where you've got Ghost Jason, you've got this hitchhiker to where it doesn't follow that Friday the 13th formula to where it breaks some rules to where you don't get to see boobs, you don't get to see a lot of gore because the kills in this movie only happen at the very end of the film. What I love about it is that it's more of a suspense thriller than a slasher film. I love that. I love the main character of Kyle. That it was awesome. I also loved all the Easter eggs and fan service in this movie to where I honestly feel that the team felt that they might get a little shit for not being like an actual Friday the 13th film. So they added Easter eggs here and there to where I like to think of it as like Never Hike Alone was referencing the original Friday 13th, and then Never Hike in the Snow, and then Never Hike Alone 2 were kind of references to Friday 13th Part 6 Jason Lives, and I love that. That was great. I love almost everything. Excuse me. I love almost everything about this movie. There's like little negatives that I can say towards this film. The one negative that I ever had towards this movie was Kyle's actor, his acting. It's a little wonky. It was better than Never Hike Alone 2. I thought his acting was fine. It wasn't the worst. I didn't really like it. And also the Jason stomping, which is repeated throughout the rest of the other two movies, I'm still mixed on. It does make him sound scary, but at the same time, I just like, that doesn't sound like Jason to me. And at number one is the new kid on the block. Never Hike Alone 2. Wow. Never Hike Alone 2. I was so excited for this movie. If this was like an actual film, like being released in theaters and actually being advertised and everything on like TV spots and being hyped up from the horror community, this might as well have been my most anticipated movie of the year because I was so excited for this movie. And the fact that it was being released on Friday 13th when I was in a Friday 13th slash Jason mood. I had just got done watching my favorite Friday the 13th movies. This movie dropped at 8 p.m. where I live, and I could not wait to watch this movie. And my God, was it amazing. To where I basically have no negatives with this film. The one thing that I could say that's negative towards this movie was kind of the stupid subplot that apparently, oh, Tommy, he needs to destroy Pamela's head to stop Jason Voorhees. That was never introduced in this franchise. I don't understand why that's introduced here, and it's kind of dumb when you think about it. But at the same time, they do like a spin on that to where I feel that they kind of understood that it was stupid as they went along, and so they did like a child psychology thing like they did in part two, to where Jason axes his mom's head, and to where he's like feeling guilty, and then it like breaks apart, and then he's trying to like fix it, freaking out, and then he sees his mom, and he's like freaking out, and then Tommy sees the advantage to kill him, and that's how he dies. One, that's an interesting way to kill him, and that's a pretty poetic way to go out. And two, I do think it's kind of stupid to where they said, oh, if you destroy the Pamela head, it's gonna destroy Jason. That's kind of stupid. But anyways, I also loved how this movie was an hour and 12 minutes long. This is the longest Never Hike Alone movie, and my God, was it amazing. I was so glad to see that this movie was an hour long, to where it honestly flew by, to where it didn't even feel like an hour. When I was watching this movie and the time it was over, I was like, "Oh, what the fuck? That movie was like only a half hour." And I checked it; it was an hour and 12 minutes, and I was like, "Oh my God, that flew by!" To where I almost rewinded it just to rewatch it again. This is just basically fan service to all Friday the 13th fans. It's a great film. It's an awesome film. Just from this movie alone, just shows that Vincent Tizanti and his team needs to make the next Friday the 13th film, because this movie was fucking awesome. Thank you all for so much. Thank you so much for watching my video. Oh Jesus, I'm tired. Thank you all so much for watching my ranking of all three Never Hike Alone films. Have you seen these films? Please leave me your ranking in the comments below. And your thoughts on each of these films if you wish to. Thank you all so much for watching. And if you like this video, like it. If you love to subscribe to the bell notification so you would get notified for my latest videos. And of course, until my next video, I'll see you all next time.